What is going on, everybody? Sean of the King here, and I am here to bring you my review for The Walking Dead Season 3, Episode 8, which is the mid season finale. For those who do not know, The Walking Dead, after yesterday night's episode, will be on hiatus until February. I know, don't get your pitchforks out. It is a long wait, but will be well worth it. But instead of focusing on what's going to be too far away to worry about, let's talk about last night's episode, which was fantastic. Whew, this show. Oh, and in case you guys hadn't known, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I watch a lot of TV. In my free time, that's a lot of things I like to do. I watch a lot of different TV shows, and I kind of rank them. And The Walking Dead is my A tier shows, and it's probably at the top. Right now, what I'm ranking is The Walking Dead and American Horror Story and Grimm on NBC. Those are right now my three top tier TV shows that I watch, along with New Girl, a couple of shows like that. But again, it's not about that. This is about the Walking Dead, so let's not get distracted. As you guys know, last episode, Rick and his group got together and they were getting ready to storm Woodbury to save Glenn and Maggie. And they were not going to be taking any prisoners, and they were pretty much just going in there to, rescue their people. But before I get there, we were introduced to a new survivor. This survivor was one of the fan favorites from the comic books. Again, I do read the comics, but I have not caught up to what's currently going on. And again, there really wouldn't be any point because the comics and the TV show do not follow the same storyline at all. I mean, they have the general same plots, like the things that happen to the characters in the comic typically happen to the people in the show to a certain extent. Like, for instance, Merle is not in the comics. Like, his brother is, I believe he was in it maybe briefly, if I remember correctly, maybe even not. And no, he wasn't actually. Because now that I think about it, there was nobody getting handcuffed to the roof in the comic or anything like that. I don't think Merle was a major player in the comic book at all. So, him being in the show is a completely new thing. And that's what makes the show great. But again, like I said, the new guy that's been introduced, I guess some would call him T-Dog 3. I know that sounds racist, but I'll get to that. I'll get to that in a second. Him and his group, they're being attacked by walkers. They're running through the woods, and it looks like they kind of almost remind you of Rick's group. They use close quarter combat. It looks like everybody has some sort of weapon, some sort of hammer, sword, or what have you. They don't have guns from what I could tell. And again, like I said, the reason why they remind me of Rick's group is they kind of use the same, guerrilla tactics of staying together and, going for the head and, things of that nature. Looks like one of the survivors gets bit. Looks like it's the wife of the guy and his son. Of course, the black girl that's walking with the guy, she's just like, leave her. And, the group is like, no, we don't leave our own. And, he's not ready, meaning that he's not ready to see his wife go, which is understandable. I'm pretty sure he realizes that she's been bit, she's going to turn. But even if that's the case, you still want to be able to say goodbye. You don't want to just leave your wife there to get ripped to shreds by zombies, because that's what's going to happen. I mean, zombies, they'll still eat you alive even if you've been bitten. So it's not like you turn and then all of a sudden they just leave you alone. No. If they find your body, they're going to rip you to shreds. And I wouldn't want to leave my wife there for anything. So they end up making it to a section of the prison that I guess Rick and his group overlooked. I guess they never fully went around the entire perimeter of the actual prison to see if there were no other ways of getting in. And I guess that kind of has a small teeny plot hole, but not really, because, in the end, they had their little section that's secure. They didn't really probably pay attention to the entire prison. Because again, that prison could be huge and go on for miles and miles and miles. There are probably still sections of that prison that they haven't fully gotten to because of just the walkers And again, like I said, they had a little section, so as long as that section is clean, they don't really care. But it is kind of funny how whenever they do encounter walkers in that little hallway area, they're always there. I just feel like, why can't you just clear out that hallway area and prevent those walkers from getting into that little area? Because that's where every time they get into those damn little corridors, they always run into some damn walkers in the dark. It drives me crazy. But anyway, right now with Rick being gone, Rick's son is in charge, and he's really coming to his own in these past 8 episodes. From last year's, him just being, the little kid who just couldn't even hold a gun. Now he's killing walkers. He's protecting the team, the group. He's just really holding his own. And he actually got a chance to shine this episode. He heard the screams from the new group and went out to go investigate. And he actually ended up leading them back to safety, but also at the same time being smart and not letting them immediately into their main group. Locking them in that other room and making sure they still had food and water. And like, look, coming in my group, stay here, food and water. We'll figure out to do with you later. I really was thinking to myself, that's really smart of you, and I really appreciate that. So, good shout out to him. Now we get to the meat and potatoes of the episode, the battle at Woodbury. All right, so Team Prison, they sneak into Woodbury. Michonne finds a backdoor way to get into the Woodbury. I guess it's the same way she used to when she was sneaking around last time. So they actually get in. Where she was being interrogated, or as she like to say, is questioned. The group gets in. There's some random guy that ends up getting knocked upside the head, and the group in general is just like ready to go. Now, what ends up happening is Glenn. We thought that last episode Glenn was a badass, and I don't know if I emphasized enough that Glenn was a badass last episode. He then again proved it, because again he's still locked up with Maggie, and he asked her, did she get raped by him? She said no, he barely touched me. Just keep his mind at ease. So what he does is he walks over to the same walker that he had already killed, and he rips the walker's arm off. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, what the hell is he doing? Like, I'm like, even when he like breaks the arm again and he's like pulling out the bone, I'm like, what is he gonna do? Like, rip the bone apart and make like some sort of makeshift, lockpick? Like, literally, I had no idea what he was doing with that damn thing. And then when he ends up, with the little bone spurt, and he hands it to Maggie, that's when I get it. It's like, oh, it's a weapon. Thank God, because if he tried to pull some MacGyver shit and they ended up breaking out of that jail with zombie bones, I'd have been done. I'd have been like, you know what? You guys got me. I'm done. I'm officially Walking Dead out. I can't handle no MacGyver shit, alright? You can't be picking locks with fucking zombie bones. So I'm glad they decided to just kind of go with the whole weapon thing. What ends up happening is Merle is talking to the governor, and the governor says, hey, we can't have Andrea see them, so take them to the screen pits. I don't think we ever got to see the screen pits. I'm wondering if that's what they were doing with the zombies. I don't exactly know what the screen pits are, but they walk in to take them to the screen pits, and that's when Glenn and Maggie use their opportunity to try to escape. And Maggie has an awesome kill where she literally takes that zombie bone spurt and just shoves it slowly in the neck of the guy. And Glenn is getting into a fight with Merle. They're rolling all over the place, and Merle's trying his best, because again, he doesn't want to kill him, because he could have easily just stabbed him with his little robot arm. But they're just rolling around, and they're just fighting, and it looks like the gun goes off. So Rick's group hears the gunfire, and they're like, okay, we need to move out, some shit's going down. Of course, in turn, the governor and Andrea also hear this gunfire. Hell, everybody in fucking Woodbury heard the damn gunfire. So then, they realize that this attack is on. We need to get ready. And then this is what I want to talk about with you guys. This is when Rick's group goes Rainbow 6, Vegas 2 on fucking Woodbury. Like, I'm talking like in sequential order. These guys are tossing smoke, tossing flashbangs, and just walking around and just like surgically just. I'm talking lighting these Woodbury people up. Like, you know, they come in with stealth, and they rescue Glenn and they rescue Maggie, and you know, in the chaos, they get out, and you know, Merle and his group, they have no idea what's going on, and you know, their group gets away, but then Michonne disappears. So Rick's like, "Fuck, where did she go? Like, what's going on?" But then it's like, you know, we got our people, we gotta get the hell out of here. So they're going, and now Maggie has a gun, Glenn has a gun. You know, Daryl had his gun. You know, Rick and we have T-Dog too. And you know, again, just and this is what I respect about Rick and his group. Like, I feel like Rick and Daryl alone are like a two-man army. Like, they're like Army of Two on like the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. You guys have to be a gamer in order to understand what I'm talking about. Don't have time to get into it right now. But anyway, it's like this is what takes them and puts them ahead of anybody else. So yeah, you can have all these guards in Woodbury guarding, you know, towers, and you can put a gun in their hand, but they're never going to be real soldiers. Again, they don't have the training that Rick and his group has. They haven't been through a third of what they've been through as far as dealing with zombies and just people in general. And you could tell, like, literally, they were surgically just going through, dropping smoke and just taking these guys out, taking them out on the tower. Just, you know, it was a huge gunfight. Like, this episode was so good. It didn't even have that many zombie kills, and I'm starting to run out of words. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause there, and let's talk about something else. Because again, I said earlier, Michonne disappeared. She disappeared from the group because she had her own agenda. She wasn't just going back to Woodbury to save Rick's group. She was going back to get her a piece of that governor. And again, a lot of people were saying, why did she go back? You know, that makes no sense. The plot doesn't make sense. I'm like, you got to think about it. I know Michonne's character has not been fully fleshed out. And again, I know they're working on that. But she had a pretty good reason for going back after the governor. You know, she was able to leave on her free will. And then after that, to send people after her to try to kill her. She knew where that order came from. That order came from nobody but the governor. So she knew that the governor was trying to have her killed. So she was coming back to settle the score. And boy, did Michonne deliver. Let me tell you. So Michonne walks into his office. You know, she breaks in. You know, she's looking around and she's just like, yeah, I'm about to fuck this guy up. You know, his ass is mine. She just pulls a chair up. She sits in the chair. She knows she has her big ass katana sitting in her lap. And she's like, yeah, I'm about to fuck this governor up. So, you know, she's just sitting there just waiting. She got beads of sweat pouring off her head. She's like, yeah, I'm going to get his ass. And all of a sudden she starts to hear this, like, you know, this little, you know, tune, I guess, noise in the back of her head, you know, in her head. She's like, what the fuck is that? You know, so she goes and investigates, and then she stumbles upon the governor's secret room where he keeps all the zombie heads and, you know, everything in the mason jars and the fish tanks and all that other crazy stuff. So, of course, she's like, well, this guy's sick. So then, of course, she gets to the cage where earlier the governor was still trying to get, you know, bring his daughter back, or make her, I guess not bring her back, but, you know, kind of see if there was any of her humanity left. Of course it wasn't. So Michonne goes up to her, you know, unchains her, you know, pulls the hat off and realizes, oh my God, this is a zombie. And just as she's getting ready to kill her, who walks in? The governor. But the governor is like, hey, you know, he's like, please don't hurt my daughter. She's an innocent, and blah, blah, blah. This guy's like nutsack crazy. Like, he's really thinking that, hey, she's really human, or whatever he thinks about her. And he's just like, please don't hurt her, you know, blah, blah, blah. He takes off his belt. He holsters his gun, makes himself completely vulnerable to Michonne. So Michonne just takes this opportunity. She gives him this little grin, and she just stabs the daughter right through the back of the head, through the mouth, killing her instantly. And the governor goes into this blind rage and attacks Michonne. And then this is like, this is like an all-out brawl. Like, this isn't no like super choreographed fighting for television. I'm talking about, this is like a fight. This is like a world star hip hop street fight. So, you know, the governor is like punching and choking Michonne, and Michonne is like gouging and, you know, kicking and, you know, groin punching the governor. You know, he takes her head and smashes it into the little zombie fish tanks, and the zombie heads are like rolling on the floor. and there, even the zombie head is still alive. You know, there's no hits to the, to the brain, so they're still like gnawing and trying to like bite at her. It was crazy. It was crazy. So Michonne got punched in the face quite a few times, and she's like bleeding, and the governor is just like trying to choke her. He's bleeding from the mouth because she got a couple of good shots in, and finally he gets it to a point where he's like trying to choke her to death, and Michonne gets hooked to a jagged piece of glass, and she ends up stabbing the governor right in his eye, and I felt that shit from my TV. I was just like, ow, damn, that shit looked like it hurt. So just as she's getting ready to deliver the final blow, of course, Andrea shows up, and her and Michonne have this weird little standoff. They don't actually say a word to each other. Well, actually, I take that back. Andrea just says, "What have you done?" And Michonne just lowers her sword and walks away. I honestly thought for a second that Andrea was going to shoot her in the back, but then I was just like, I guess she hasn't lost her mind completely. Now, on that note, I'm going to stop there with Michonne's story, and I'm going to talk about Andrea for a second, because Andrea's character is really starting to get on my nerves. It's almost to the point where she's starting to become the new Lori, and that's not a good thing, Andrea. I feel like, and again, let's be clear. I'm not trying to say that her character is necessarily dilly, but I just think that the writers could have did a better job. I was trying to, figure out why certain questions aren't being answered or asked or whatever the case may be. Because again, from the beginning of the episode, when they first found out that Woodbury was under attack, the governor is like, she knows that Andrea is a good shot and that she can help, but yet and still he's just like, no, go, protect the people. And she's like, what am I, a nursemaid? She's like, no, I need to be out there on the front lines. Can't anyone else do it? And, he's like, just do as I say. She's like, okay. And, even when she's like out and about and walking around and, the bullets are flying, Rick's group, and she just starts shooting at the group. And again, like I said, she had no idea that it was just Rick's group. So again, she's just shooting at whatever she sees. And again, she happened to notice T-Dog too. And I think she took a couple of shots at him. Of course, she missed. But again, to her, she ended up going and discussing this with, the governor. And, the governor's like, well, maybe she knows it's their group and she just doesn't care. Because there's a moment where he's like, wait a minute, you saw the group and you know who they are, and you still don't shoot at them, and you still shot at them. So I'm thinking that maybe he's realizing that, well, maybe I do have some sort of hold on her, or maybe she doesn't care, or maybe she is here for me. Like, I don't know what that whole thing was. He did give her a look. So, this is the thing about Andrea that gets me. At the beginning, she was asking the right questions, but then she just kept letting those questions go. Like, she was asking a logical question, like, why are they using smoke grenades if they're trying to retreat, if they're terrorists trying to attack Woodbury? I mean, they would be trying to, it looked like more like they were trying to retreat versus attack. So, it didn't make any sense to, and again, she never really brought that up again. One other person that really annoyed me, and again, you guys can tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know where the hell Rick got this random vision that all of a sudden in the heat of battle, I mean, he got guns and bullets flying everywhere, and all of a sudden you just see Shane walking up to you with a shotgun, and all of a sudden you just hesitate, and you get T-Dog 2 killed. I'm like, come on, Rick, fuck out of here. So, to me, it was just weird. I just felt like, why would they just throw that in there randomly, that Rick would all of a sudden just start hallucinating and acting like he's seeing Shane again, and then all of a sudden after T-Dog 2 gets shot, then all of a sudden he snaps out of it, shoots the guy in the face, and realizes it's not Shane. I was just like, that was just so random and uncalled for. It definitely did not get brownie points for me. At this point, like I said, Daryl knows that, Daryl knows that his Merle is there, and he knows his brother's there, and he's like, his brother wouldn't do anything to him, and just let him talk to him. So he's actually providing cover fire for the group to get away, and then he runs out of bullets. I almost wonder if he actually meant to get caught so he can get an opportunity to talk to his brother, because again, I just felt like he's a very capable fighter, and I'm pretty sure he could have easily gotten away from those guys if he had to. I almost think that he purposely got himself caught so he can get an opportunity to see Merle. Now that I've talked about Merle, Merle had a very huge moment in this episode. Once everything died down and Rick's group got away, everything calmed down. Everything with the governor happened. He has his eye taken away and he wants to go meet with everybody. And as Merle comes walking in through the door, the governor looks at him with this look of deceit and anger. Like, I've never seen someone that pissed before. He literally just says, "I was attacked," and just looked at Merle, and Merle was like, "Okay." Like, Merle had no idea. And again, a lot of people could have actually missed it. That if you don't remember, Merle was supposed to kill Michonne. When he went out there, he was supposed to kill Michonne, not let her go. But once everything started happening, and Michonne was cutting his people down left and right, he didn't want to deal with her anymore. So he's like, "Look, she's in the red zone. The zombies will get to her. I'll just go back and tell the governor that Michonne is dead." So clearly, he lied to the governor because Michonne was not dead. And not only was she not dead, she was fully capable and she killed him. But again, Merle didn't know that. Merle was just like, okay, he got attacked and thinking it's somebody from Rick's group. So they're at this little bonfire at the little pit place where they usually have a zombie fight, and that's when the governor comes out. He makes his speech about terrorism, and then he decides to say, we've been betrayed by one of our own, and he, Merle gets, all the guns drawn on him, and he's sitting there like, what the hell? And then, of course, that's when we find out that Daryl had also got caught, and, he was brought together, and they're both standing in the middle. And then at this point, when they take the bandage off and they show that it's Daryl is looking around like, yo, these people are crazy. They're about to lynch me. And then he locks eyes with Andrea at the exact same time. And then that's when all of a sudden Andrea has that moment and she's like, holy shit, that's Daryl. Then that must mean that's Rick's group who was attacking Woodbury. Oh my God, what is going on? So like, I know she's just having that, that moment of like, what the hell is going on? And again, like I said, I don't even think Merle still at this point has any idea that Michonne is alive and she's the one that attacked the governor, because no one talks about anything in this show. I'm like, you're just like, again, the governor gets attacked, and instead of Merle just saying, who did this to you? He's just like, wow, you got attacked. Wow, that's crazy. Makes no sense. So, that's kind of how the episode ends. It ends on a crazy cliffhanger, and you're just like, are Merle and, is his brother going to die? What's going to happen? And I guess those questions were kind of answered in the preview. But again, because it was just a preview, I'm not going to really speculate. I just wanted to kind of get on here and tell you guys about my thoughts on the episode. The episode gets a 9.9 out of 5 out of 10. I mean, this episode was phenomenal. It had twists, it had turns, it had zombie kills, it had human kills, it had betrayal, it had everything. Like, this show is hands down one of the best TV shows on TV right now, and I am proud to say that I'm a fan of Walking Dead. But now I want to hear about what you guys thought. I'm excited to hear it from you guys. Tell me what you thought in the comment section below. Thumbs up if you thought this was a fantastic episode of The Walking Dead, and also just remember that the show will unfortunately not be back until February. So, but don't fret, you will be getting some other videos from me from time to time. I don't want you guys to forget about me or my sparkling personality. Also, just to give you a heads up, also in February, the Game of Thrones will be returning to HBO for their season 3, and I will be reviewing that show, as well as reviewing the final season of Spartacus, which is called War of the Damned. So again, 2 more bloody shows I'll be talking about. This is Show Not the King, the one and only. You guys have a fantastic day.